Hello, and welcome to the Tom Photo channel. Today's topic is Fujifilm's inbuilt film simulations that you can choose from the menu for your JPEGs. This certainly makes Fuji stand out from the crowd, and it's a good reason to want to use Fuji system. Back in the day, Fuji was major in photographic film industry. People grew to like those films. Luckily, we can still use these simulations today in the digital format. Let's now systematically see what they can do. I photographed the same scene for you in the morning, afternoon, and evening to explore the effects in different lighting conditions. This means looking at the scene against the light from one side, and lighting from behind. I chose a scene that had a variety of situations covered. It had a bit of ice, a bit of sky, trees, color, and also nearby and distant objects. The film simulations can be color or monochrome. The dynamic range was always 200% in all situations. All images I'm showing can be downloaded for detailed comparison from my website, and the link is provided below. We are first looking at the color photography. Let's start with the morning scene. First up is Velvia, the most vivid of them all. With the light shining directly at you, you need to bring in more color to compensate. Velvia is providing that color and is not overdoing it. I like what I'm seeing Velvia do in these tricky conditions. It can certainly bring back life to the otherwise not so great image. Next up is Astia. This tends to be my favorite color simulation for general photography, landscape or people. This generally has the best all-around color balance for my taste, not pushing the limits, not lacking anything either. Here it does a good job, similar to Velvia, but showing a bit less color. It also renders less contrast compared to Velvia, which you may or may not like. This photo looks very realistic, just the way I remember it. This is ProNeg High. It brings back the contrast of Velvia, but displays the colors of Astia. The contrast is even a tad higher than that of Velvia, but colors are very realistic. I use ProNeg High when colors are very bright and need to be toned down a bit, but I still want good contrast. It's a good choice for photographing people when conditions are very gloomy and gray. It will put some crispiness back in the faces without making faces the wrong color. ProNeg Standard takes ProNeg High and trades the contrast for dynamic range. It produces drama and shows more detail. This can be a good thing, but for this particular scene I feel I prefer drama and color to detail and realism. ProNeg Standard should be the best simulation for face photography. You tend to get the most realistic results without altering the colors. However, for most purposes I find it a bit soft and pale. Provia is the Fujifilm's most standard simulation. It's a good starting point for most cases. I would characterize it as a cross between ProNeg High and ProNeg Standard, both in terms of contrast and color. Use Provia and they're not going to say that you did something very wrong. This, however, is also the weakness of Provia. You can run the risk that your photo will turn out pretty average. Classic Chrome brings back the contrast that I personally like for this scene. However, it does a lot to the color. It turns down the color in general, but not in the blue, cold region. The images with this simulation appear cold, but also a bit worn out in terms of color. This is your best simulation if you want to focus on a certain mood and want to show cold colors. It's not a simulation for people or fall foliage, but can work well for city, rainy day, or classic car photography, for example. Here it renders the scene cold. This can be very suitable if you like to convey the coldness to the viewer. Eterna is said to have the best detail. To get this amount of detail, the image is very low contrast and appears washed out. Eterna is tailored for making videos. It's not so much for photography. In filmmaking, they use it as a base to later add in color. You get a lot of detail, and so your footage is the easiest to manipulate. If you want more contrast, you can do this in post-processing. For photography, you may want to use Eterna if you try to mimic an old photograph that's been sitting around for a long time. I'm glad Fuji is offering this option though. But now it's time to announce the winner for the morning scene, and the winner is Velvia. Let's now move on to the midday photos. With the light coming from the right, the scene looks quite different now, doesn't it? Again, we're starting with Velvia, and it does not disappoint. It's able to bring out even the distant greens, and the image looks crispy. Speaking of Velvia generally, it does the best job with blue sky, which we don't have here, and the green colors. Astia is looking very good too. In fact, I like the fact that contrast is down a bit and colors look realistic. The distant greens are not as pronounced and appear brownish. I don't know about you, but this works for me on this very, very early spring day. It appears pleasing to my eye. Pronag High increases the contrast and decreases the color. The drama is there and it's nice. At the same time, the color is largely gone. The spring image has become a fall image. Unlike the previous picture, this no longer has the sun shining. The picture is not bad, but this is not exactly what I intended to do with the current scene. Pronag Standard takes the scene one more step away from spring. The detail is back though, and the dynamic range of the image is very good. Although Pronag Standard does not seem optimal here, I hope you are seeing the potential of it as a good general purpose lower contrast simulation. Provia is going back to the Astia territory. Some of the color is back, but not as much. The color decreases in the order of Velvia to Astia to Provia generally. This image is a good example where Provia is too conservative to stand out in any way. For me, it lands somewhere in the middle of the pack. Nothing wrong with it, but doesn't catch anyone's attention either. I apologize to all Provia fans out there. I know you are many, and I know that you're not wrong. Classic Chrome makes the scene very cold and crisp. I'm going against what I said earlier about the value of the warmth of the image, but in a way I like it. I guess I like the crispiness and freshness of the image. It's now clear that you have to wear a hat and gloves when you go out, and it's probably also windy. The image is not warm, but it somehow feels more timeless, so not bad. Eterna is the less contrasty and washed out, but it kind of almost works here. It certainly is a good simulation if you ever want to stand out from among a pack of Disney-colored photographs and want to make people's minds go wander and think about something. It has a weird emotional deepness to it. I have to announce the winner for this section, and I chose Astia as the one able to best convey the image the way I remember it. Moving on to the evening simulations now. Just check out what happened to the scene with the warm backlighting. It's nothing like it was in the morning. Look at Velvia. Do we have a lot of color or what? Do we have the clouds pronounced and prominent? Yes, we do. For the first time, Velvia has gone a bit too far though. Looking at this picture almost makes me want to sneeze. That's how invasive it feels. Looks like someone got very liberal with the color saturation slider in post-processing. The picture is nice and will draw attention, but looks a bit unrealistic. The grass at the bottom is essentially a black blob with no detail. Astia seems more pleasing, as the greenish tint is decreased and the image is less colorful and more in the direction of red. And I like the red here. Also, the grass in front is showing some detail now. Pronag High has decreased the color even further and also returned to the contrast of Velvia. The contrast I don't mind, but with the loss of so much color, the evening shot is starting to lose its original purpose. Pronag Standard is like Pronag High, but the bottom half of the image has more detail. I like this detail increase because the image is better balanced this way. Otherwise, you have an upper bright half and lower dark half, like a cross between two unlikely partners. Provia comes in strong this time. It has the color similar to Astia, but more detail in the dark regions. The image looks right to me. It's conservative, yes, I give you that, but it does not look like a mistake in any way. Classic Chrome has done big things to the scene. It no longer looks like an evening scene. It could just as easily be morning now. I cannot give high marks to Classic Chrome because it transformed the mood so much that there's something, but then again, there's something about this purple color that it brings in that makes the image interesting. I feel I need to experiment with Classic Chrome more to learn to unlock its potential. It's a mysterious one. Eterna again goes to the extreme with low contrast and high detail. I definitely want to see more crispiness and color, but I can see how this simulation could work in a film where people are the main subject and this scene is a backdrop. Why not? It could turn out interesting. We also have to pick a winner for this section, and this time Provia grabs the prize. Now let's switch to single color images and look at our scene with these simulations. We are back to the morning. The first one is Acros. What a nice result right out of the camera. I'm not seeing major problems with it. The darkness levels are very natural, but at the same time we have good contrast. The scene is not easy for black and white photography, let me tell you. Acros with the yellow filter makes the distant trees a bit darker. This increases contrast. However, I'd like the distant object to be lighter, less contrasty, and different from the ones in the front. So for my taste, throwing in the yellow filter didn't do it. If anything, it gave some detail to the ice on the pond in the middle, and that was certainly a good thing though. Acros with the red filter makes the trees even darker, but also it did the same to the ice. The sky remained largely unchanged. For me, the trees are a little too dark, and so is the ice. It would be better if the ice matched the sky a bit better to create balance. Acros with green filter is identical to just Acros, so no point in getting out the green filter here. Monochrome should be compared to Acros, and it does look similar. It's just that the contrast is lower, so you'll see more detail. Do you want more detail or more contrast? This is what tips the balance between Acros and monochrome. Filters in front of monochrome do exactly the same job as filters in front of Acros did. For example, here yellow will darken the distant trees and the ice. Red will do this even more. And green is indistinguishable from the no filter version. And now there is sepia. This is there to mimic a certain photographic technology from the past that was liked because it gave the photos more life than black and white. Sepia is a specific niche for photographers. Many have never touched it. I've taken just a few photos with this simulation. I wanted once a bookcase to look old to give the books in it certain nostalgic value, and so I used sepia. And it worked because people later asked, "Wow, what is this? Where did you take this photograph?" I cannot say how sepia works for our scene here because it's in a league of its own. Why not, I would say. So time to pick the winner again. This time the honor goes to Acros. It beat monochrome because with the loss of color I'd like to see more contrast to compensate. Going on to the midday images now. Acros, wow, we are now starting to see the power of black and white photography. This otherwise average scene now draws attention. Now you'll want to watch it and even think about it a little bit. Perhaps imagine what else may have happened on that day or what is about to happen. The magic of losing color. Acros with yellow filter brightens it up some more, and why not? Why not go all out with this with the message here? Good work, yellow filter. Red filter takes another step in the same direction. Now the loss of detail is too much though. Now it's starting to feel like a drawing, which may not be bad, of course. The green filter I cannot quite place. In some sense it's perhaps between no filter and yellow filter, but it's not as good as either of them. Again, the monochrome with its filters behaves exactly like Acros, just showing less contrast. Here's monochrome alone, not bad at all. Here's monochrome together with the yellow filter, and it's brighter. Together with red filter, I think it's got a better balance than Acros had with red filter. So there's something to look more into. Together with green filter, just like bare monochrome, but a bit less contrast. Sepia is what it is. Nice. It's still doing its own thing and it's not competing with the others. So now let me officially announce the winner. It was not easy as Acros with the yellow filter and monochrome with the red filter. were about equally good. However, the trophy goes to Acros with yellow filter because I had to pick just one. We're now looking at the evening images. Acros looks okay, just okay. I'd expect more when I trade in beautiful colors for no color. Acros with yellow filter is beautiful. Look at the clouds and the lighter trees in front of it in the distance. Likewise, the branch in front simply glows. I like it. Acros with red filter. Whoa, amazing. I love this. I don't care that the color is gone. I don't care that the contrast is crazy. This is the way to go. Oops, I hope I didn't give away the winner here. I'm afraid I did. Acros with green filter takes away everything that red filter worked so hard to get in. The magic is gone. It's simply a picture now. This is monochrome. I'd say monochrome is really nice if I hadn't seen Acros just a while back. True, it offers more detail than Acros, but I personally don't care about detail with black and white photography. I mostly care about contrast, drama, and the wow effect. In that sense, Acros is a step ahead. In this light, the yellow filter helps. It does what it did to the Acros simulation. The red filter works even better. The image is very nice. Too bad I have already seen Acros with a red filter. Monochrome with green filter takes us to the wrong path. We have lost the contrast. The bottom part of the image is simply a dark gray mud, not even black mud, which would have been much more interesting. Sepia is here again to remind us of the beginning of photography. I'm not commenting because who am I to comment Sepia? You don't criticize the Beatles. That would be just wrong. The winner will not come as a surprise to you. Acros with a red filter it is. Now this brings us to the conclusions. My most commonly used simulation Astia scored 1 point. So did the brightest one Velvia and the basic Provia. Acros won the black and white challenge in all categories over the monochrome. So I like different simulations in different situations. This shows you that there is no such thing as good or bad Fujifilm simulation. They nicely cover the wide range. Only in the black and white category I always picked Acros over monochrome. I showed you how much the digital black and white filters change the scene, so I invite you to experiment with these filters. Note that this was all just my opinion. Different people can have different opinions, and your opinion is the best opinion for you. I definitely respect that. There are many scenarios that I did not cover, for example, people, photography, bright colors, artificial lighting, etc. Please stay tuned for my future videos that will one day cover those aspects as well. Thanks so much for listening to me. You can download a PDF version of my presentation and the original photographs from my website. The link is below. Have a great day, and I hope to talk to you again soon.